Yeah.
DevOps is nothing but the collaboration between different teams. The main purpose of DevOps, or I would say the main highlight of DevOps, is continuous integration and continuous deployment.
Okay. And heavily using different tools. And the purpose of DevOps, the goal of DevOps is automation. Agree? Everyone agree?
Yes.
Okay. What are we trying to achieve by doing automation, uh, by doing CI/CD? One particular word that is very important: consistent environment. That means no matter whether it is a QA, dev, stage, or production, the kind of packages installed, kind of versions deployed on that particular environment is same across all the environments. I mean, the package version and the software running, everything is same across different environments. That's what we are trying to make sure by following DevOps methodology or DevOps principle. Any questions from anyone? Okay, moving on to the second one. What is GitBash as a tool? What do you understand?
GitBash is the source code management.
No, no, no.
It's a tool that is.
GitBash
Ah,
is a simple command line tool for
yeah,
you to interact with.
GitLab is the source code management.
Yeah, okay. We are talking about GitBash.
Mhm.
So someone else can give it a try. Aishu or Zafi, anyone. Don't hesitate.
We mainly work on Linux code there, Linux environment or Linux code.
Yeah. So basically, it enables you to work from Windows and convert your system, Windows system, to Linux. Uh, by using Git Bash, you can feel that you are working on a Linux machine. Every command that you run it on Linux, you can run it here, except some of the package related stuff. It allows you to interact with all the Linux machines, all the other command line tools like AWS CLI, Terraform, and any other command line tools you can access from Git Bash. Any more discussion or questions? Any other doubts on Git Bash as a tool? Okay, moving on to the third one, AWS CLI usage and how it works. Quick answer. Anybody who is feeling confident can just raise your voice and tell. Shiva, you can answer this since no one is.
Yeah, it is a AWS command line interface tool which is used to interact with the AWS console by using command line.
Yeah, so we'll be primarily using access key and secret key to authenticate to AWS Cloud, and we'll be mainly using IAM user who has required permissions to access resources. We'll be doing either one of the modify operation or one of the read operation, read or write. So in the write operations we have modify, delete, create, update, and things like that. In the read operation we'll have a list, get, describe kind of operations. What is the command to configure AWS CLI?
You're asking me or anyone?
Anyone. Zafi, you can tell.
I forgot.
Okay, AWS configure is a command after having installed AWS CLI on your laptop. You can run AWS space configure and feed in your access key, secret key, region name, and the format JSON format. After that, as a result, you will have in your home directory .aws folder, and which will have credentials file as well as a config file. Config file will contain information about your region and your output format, whereas credentials file will have a profile called default. Underneath you will have access key and secret key. So when you run AWS CLI command, for example, AWS S3 CP, S3 create, S3 API create, or AWS EC2 describe instances, it will fetch the credentials from your credentials file, which is in your home directory .aws folder. It will use that information to authenticate your AWS cloud and fetch the information from your cloud. One of the necessary thing or the must thing here is you should have the proper permissions for that particular IAM user. Okay. How to install and use Terraform? Next question. Any answers from Aishu? Tara? Basically, this question is very straightforward. Install Terraform, you just need to unzip the URL which is given and then copy the terraform.exe file to C Windows folder, so that it is in the path of your one of the env variable in Windows, and you should be able to run Terraform from your command line GitBash. Any doubts whatever I explained so far?
No, sir.
Okay. Can someone define the Terraform workflow?
Yes, Shankar, I can try.
Yeah, sure.
So first we have to build that code. First we have to planning, initiate, then we have to planning, then we have to create, and after creating it, it's not necessary for future, so that we can destroy that.
Okay, it's a good try. Anyone else? What are the 4 major stages? Init, plan, apply, and destroy. Okay. Okay, next thing that we'll be looking at is Terraform code blocks. What is a provider block? Can someone quickly tell me? What is a provider block? Provider block is nothing but you're going to define which cloud you are going to talk, which cloud you are going to use to create your resources. That provider block will have uh, the cloud name and your region name and your access key and secret key. What is a variable block? Any idea? Anyone?
Does it have the list of variables?
Yeah, the list of variables similar to your any programming language. When once you start writing, say for example, you're collecting people information, name equals something, age equals something, location equals something, right? Similar to that, you create a variable file which is in the .tf format that will have all the variables declared, because it is always important to define your variables and start working on your actual code. What is data block? Data block is all about fetching some information from the existing entries in the cloud. Okay, so Shiva is showing the Example.
Something?
You can show the provider block, you can show the variable block, you can show the data block as well as the resource block.
Here is the variable block.
In the variable block, the second column is a variable name, and the default value, whatever you define, will be the default value. If you don't define it, you'll have to provide it while you are running the Terraform code. So
Outputs also we have to mention.
yeah, sure. Oh, we can move on to the next question for now.
Yeah.
We need to go through some stuff to understand.
Use of a Git tool for source code management.
What is the need for using Git for source code?
Generally, in a project, we will have multiple people working on the code. I mean, many developers will be developing code. So, in order to keep them merged, and in order to have a central source code management, we go for this Git.
Yeah, exactly. Very correctly put. Basically, different versions of different features will be developed by different developers. So, in order to maintain different versions of the code in the code repository, we use Git. What are the different repositories available that can be used to manage the file system of Git? Any idea? It can be a GitLab or GitHub in general. So there are other things like Bitbucket, Circle CI. There are other repositories available, but we will be mostly concentrating on GitLab. Okay. Any questions so far? Any doubts? Okay. What is the use of SSH keys in GitBash?
For a secure sharing and automate the login process.
Exactly, right. Basically, for a secure communication to remote machines or remote servers. What is the main goal of using SSH keys here? Is it a password-based authentication or passwordless authentication? Passwordless authentication. You don't need to memorize your password. You can just use private key from your local machine. Public key can be copied to the remote machine. So that combination, you can log into the remote machine. Any more questions on SSH keys? Okay, what is CI/CD? Vidya, you can go ahead.
CI/CD stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. Continuous integration means developers develop the code that is built in the form of a package, and this package will be tested.
Yeah, the package
and
will
then it is internally released.
Correct. The package will be installed on a particular environment that is called deployment. Every time you will have the package deployed on different environments, be it dev, QA, test, or stage, or prod environments. You will have a single package that is being deployed in all different environments as long as it is working fine. So it will always move from dev and then QA. Once all the validation, all the certification is done for that QA, then it will move on to stage and then pre-prod and then production environment. So that is why it is called continuous integration and continuous deployment. We'll be using, what is the tool we are using for CI/CD?
Terraform.
Anyone wants it? Hello.
Okay, I was on mute. Okay, shall we move on to SH keys? Okay, sorry. I think we should move on to the different operations in Git.
Yeah.
11th one. Anybody has answer for this? At least basic operations of Git.
Push, commit, clone.
Yeah.
Configure, initiate.
Okay. Basically, four operations which are important. Git clone to download the repository to your local. Git add to stage your changes. Add your changes to the staging area. Git commit to save your changes. Git push to upload your commits to remote repository.
What is the difference between add and push here?
Add is only to the local staging area. That staging area means your file system. Within your file system, you are making sure that change is added.
Okay, so push is to push the changes to the repository.
Push the changes to your remote repository. That means you have something called remote, something called local. Local means your local file system. Remote means the GitLab repository.
Okay, good.
So what is EC2 instance? Maybe in a single line. It is a virtual machine provided by AWS Cloud, which has various instance type starting from small, medium, micro, medium, small, large, and things like that. And as the instance type increases, your memory, CPU, your disk increases. So this is one of the fundamental compute provided by AWS Cloud. EC2 stands for
Elastic Cloud Compute.
Yeah. Okay. What is S3 bucket?
So it's a container in AWS for storing our object, or you can say it's like a file folders.
Yeah, basically it's an object storage service provided by AWS Cloud, which is nothing but simple storage service. Simple storage service. That's why it is called S3. 3S are there, right? That's why it's called S3. Okay. Can anyone explain how to create an EC2 instance and log into EC2 instance in AWS console? What are the different required inputs to create an EC2 instance? Vidya?
Instance type.
Okay. AMI.
Yeah, AMI.
AMI, private key, security group, your
Region.
VPC, security
region
group.
by default. You go with the region. You go with the region by default. You select the subnet sometimes. If it is on the default VPC, then you don't need to select your subnet or VPC. You can just proceed with your existing default VPC selection. Okay, what is the outcome of EC2 instance creation? How do you connect to EC2 instance? By copying the public IP address of the machine and then using the private key that is created, that is copied to your local machine in the downloads folder. The command to log into the EC2 machine is ssh-i key name space your username at IP address. Hope I'm making it clear. Is it clear for everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Any idea how to run multiple commands in a single line? It is similar to writing a shell script, but at high level, you have any idea? Shiva, you can answer to them.
I didn't get it.
So basically we can use semicolon to separate the commands. Say you can just give a demo of this one. Going to a particular directory, creating a directory, and then running a particular command from your GitBash. mkdir semicolon cd the newly created directory, and then say touch semicolon touch file1. Yeah, this is more than enough. You can just enter and show that new directory is created. You gone to the new directory and then do a pwd, do ls. So he has gone to the new directory. The file is created. So in order to run multiple commands in a single line, you can use semicolon to separate your commands and put all those commands one by one in a sequence. So what is shell scripting? At a high level, if you want to understand what is shell scripting, it is nothing but collection of multiple commands in a single file with sometimes with some control structures like if loop or for loop or if or while condition and execute based on some conditions. So we'll definitely go a little deeper into this one. This topic is not something I covered earlier, so we'll definitely take a look at it. So question number 18, how to create EC2 instance using Terraform. Hope you have seen the video that has been recorded 2 days back. Most of you have attended, but you will have to go back and see the recording so that you can understand. Basically, you require inputs in a .tf file. You can create a main.tf file in which you can have you can only show the EC2 section. Sure.
Yeah.
So basically, you require instance type. First one is AMI, then next is instance type, subnet ID, key name, security group ID, user data if it is required. I mean, if you don't have an understanding of user data at this point, that is nothing but preparing your system with the prerequisite softwares tags in the end. So only this much information is required. That information, if you copy from your existing VPC, if from your existing AWS account, that will be created when you run Terraform init, Terraform plan, Terraform apply. As long as you have the access key and secret key and AWS CLI is configured. I would suggest you to go back and look at the video that is there in the top of the agenda page. Shiva, can you show the agenda, the first few lines? So you can see that the first video is for DevOps intro, second video is for creating EC2 from console, third one is creating EC2 instance from Terraform. Kindly go through all these videos, try to understand and complete the topics that has been covered in the last 1 week. Okay, can you come down to point number 19, question number 19? Okay, what is the use of private key created from AWS console? This question is very straightforward. Anybody can answer easily.
In order to authenticate, we need to have private key and the public key combination. So we have the private key that is downloaded locally. So that is used along with the public key for authentication.
Yeah. Basically, for authentication, we use the private key. If it is created from AWS console, we just get only the private key, whereas the public key will be copied by AWS to the instance that we are creating, so that when you log in using your private key, that that does a handshake, that talks to each other and then validates themselves and allows you to authenticate to the remote machine. So instead of you creating a private key and public key pair and copying the public key to the remote machine, AWS does its part. I mean, it creates your required private key for you and copies the public key to the remote machine. Okay, moving on to the security group, last question. What is the use of security group and what it does? What is ingress and what is egress? Okay, security group is a firewall, a virtual firewall in AWS, which allows or denies traffic which is coming inside or which is going out of your network. The traffic which is coming inside is controlled by ingress rule. The traffic which is going outside is controlled by egress rule. So you can also say ingress as inbound, egress as outbound rule. So it is a combination of IP address, protocol, and a port number. Okay. Any questions so far? Any doubts? Can you go up all the way, Shiva? Okay. Now your job is to start from point number 2. Create a GitLab group called My Learning, and then create a project called DevOps, and then create a folder like week 1, and underneath you will create a review 1. So everybody has to do it. Everybody who is in the call, please do this, and then for every question, maybe even after you listening to the video, go to the chat GPT, go to Google and then search for an answer. Put all your answers minimum 5 to 6 lines. If you write a big paragraph, it is okay, it is well and good. Go ahead and write answer for each questions and share your repository to me one-to-one, so that other people don't copy stuff from you. Then we'll have a Q&A session tomorrow. Then we'll try to complete all the DevOps fundamentals in the next class. Is it fine with everyone? Please raise your voice now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tara, Aishu,
Yes, sir.
Vidya, please make sure take it as a high priority and just spend an hour. I mean, more than an hour is not required. Just spend 1 hour. If you are stuck anywhere,
Yes,
feel
sir.
free to reach out to Shiva, who will definitely support you. You can also reach out to Vidya. Vidya is more experienced person. She will help you. Vidya, if you have any doubts, you reach out to me.
Sure, sure.
Okay. I'll go ahead and close this call as I'm getting late. Any questions? Feel free to ask me. Reach out to me directly. No hesitation, please. Okay.
Sure, Shamil. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.